What's good, Elevators? It's your boy Elevation here with another episode of the JBP Elevated, where we speak on the Joe Budden podcast and all of his co-hosts on and off the pod. Bravo, Joe. I gotta give you a round of applause, brother. You did it. You figured it a way out. You figured out how to get people invested in not only the lives of you and your partner and your children and exes and all of that. You got us to get invested into the co-hosts that you hired's lives too. We are so invested in this show, it's not even funny. And a lot of people are backing out of the show, myself included. Not even finishing episodes, but we still catching ourselves watching every pod. You figured it out. I always try to give you credit for love and hip-hop. And everybody's like, no, that was Jim Jones and his lady or whoever invented it. I don't know. I don't care. Joe was an integral part of that show. And he just took bits and pieces and figured out how to get all eyes on him and the lives of everybody he quote-unquote provides for. Not only did he do that, he took bits and pieces from the music industry. And he's out here moving like a label exec. He has us invested into Queen's life, Mark's life, Mel's life. She's not even on the pod anymore. Mona, so on and so forth. And then, because he's paying each and every one of them up there, he has each one of them doing different types of bids for him, or bidding, I should say, in order to get the other co-hosts riled up, or in order to get reactions out of the other co-host. The only one that seems to pick up on all of it is Ice. But now, Joe is starting to go into that bag and riling Ice up. All he has to do is speak on his lady and his family life. That's it. And Ice is going to be riled up. Now that Joe's figured it out, all he has to do is sit back. Notice today, he had a viral clip that he wasn't a part of, and he wasn't even in his normal seat. He was out of the fray. And that's another thing that's called into question, because they didn't speak on it and Parks didn't seem like anything was wrong during the episode. But where did Parks go for Joe to be sitting in that seat in the first place, to make it seem like it's orchestrated? And funny enough, who initiated all of this, or instigated, I should say? J1. They were already talking about money, which is a sour subject. And he asked, who do you think, to Mark Lamont Hill, who do you think should get paid the least, knowing what that's going to do to everyone in the room? But now he has a couple of wild cards in play. He got Mark Lamont Hill, he got Queen's Flip, he got Mona. They are all quote-unquote loose cannons in their own right. This is golden for me. Joe let it be known, in the midst of the argument, I'm going to release all of this. If you don't want it hitting the airwaves, I suggest you keep quiet on the subject. And that was another shot at Mel, because a lot of the things that got clipped out were because of her. But anyway, Joe is letting them know this is a production. Y'all are on the clock. If y'all don't want the narratives to run wild in the community, don't put them out there for them to have in the first place. And speaking of which, Joe has to be one of the only personalities that has cultivated a fan base and a community in which he interacts, in which they interact with each other outside of his product. But they're still talking about his product. Who else has that? Outside of, and then we even talk about Barb's and Cardi's Hive and the Swifties and all of that shit. But are they building communities and talking about what she's doing at football games, what she's doing when she's not singing, what she's doing when she's not with Travis Kelce? And I'm sure that if they do, somebody will correct me in the comments. But Joe, to a much less extent, has created something that each and every celebrity wants for their fan base. So even if his product is trash, we're so invested in it that we'll speak on how quote-unquote trash the product is, and he'll still get new viewers as a result, somehow, some way. And he's never going to sully our channels to the point where he wants to cancel our channels, because if our channels are growing, that means his product is still growing. Now, one thing that I didn't acknowledge in the Queen's Flip in the Joe fight video is Queens is still growing. He's at 1.3 on YouTube. And if I know anything about egos, Joe is not happy that Queen's Flip is at 1.3 while also trying to take credit for bolstering the numbers at the JBP. He's not happy that they can somewhat be seen as peers, which is why he's trying to always little bro Flip. He's not ever trying to little bro anybody else on the pod, and we always wonder why. It has a lot to do with this content space. But Joe, you figured it out. Shout out to you. And I wanted to end this video on this note. Dang, man, I thought a lot of this was content based, but this is the third time I've mentioned her name and it hasn't been in a positive light. So clearly my radar has been flicked to the on switch. Mona, been doing a lot of complaining, mamas, and not in the kind, good light. You sound uber serious. You said you're not a team player. You're not taking any pay cuts for anybody on the team. Yet you want them to make all type of concessions for you, or concessions. You want them to include you in everything, but you're not willing to be a team player. You said that you were scared. You were so scared that your coochie balled up. Ha ha ha, that's funny now, but you're already showing signs of what you'll say outside of their presence. If you're willing to say all these things and y'all are mean and y'all are this and y'all are that, while they're there, what's going on behind the scenes? And Mona is in crunch time right now. I'm going to put a time clock on Mona. I'm going to put a time clock. You got 2 weeks to come out with your own pod again. Or I'm going to start asking a bunch of questions as to what contract did you actually sign with Joe Budden? Because you said that you got the big bag trying to antagonize everybody up there. But if they were to do that to you, you would be frustrated, especially if that's actually happening. So my radar is on alert now, Mona. Suffice to say, gotta change it up. Queen's Flip, you have an argument, sir. And my eyes and the eyes of many others in the community, you may be going about it the wrong way, but you have an argument. Mark, you're on notice, sir. Everybody's starting to pay attention to your movements. They don't know if it's COE or if this is just how you are as a person. And guys, I want y'all to peep every time there's a blow up or an explosion on the set, like a real one that goes viral. Peep Ice and Ish's movements. Peep how they want nothing to do with this. And always peep when contract talks come up, you never hear Ice and Ish complain about anything. Ish might join in on the jokes like, yeah, I'll happily get paid more. He's never going to turn down a raise. But you don't ever hear him complaining about the pay. You don't ever hear Ice complaining about the pay. And every time there's a blow up, they sit in silence and they sit and wait for it to die down. There's something to that. What talks are Ice and Ish having behind the scenes to secure their spots going forward, regardless of the exchanges that happen with any and everyone else? But Joe, you did it. I gotta give you props, sir. You're a mastermind, and clearly your plan's gonna work one way or another. Because as much as I was saying your pod is falling down, this is the most he's made ever at any point in time doing the pod. He's doing the same thing he was doing 6-7 years ago, yet he's making exponentially more money. So clearly he's doing something right. Y'all let me know in the comments though. Like the video if you like the video. Subscribe to the page if you haven't. If you have, you already know how we rocking. Gonna keep this thing moving. I'll see y'all soon. Peace.